Hey guys, it's Mike Feynman. Today, I wanted to come on and introduce you to two of my great friends, Shauna and Chad. Both Shauna and Chad they're getting married and they're coming together, and they both have programs that are going to make an impact and a difference on the world. And so as friends and content creators, we wanted to get together and just share a little bit about what's on our hearts and why we do what we do. And through life being so busy, this is not Chad is full-time social media, but both Shauna and I hold full-time jobs, and it's difficult to do all of this at the same time, but we have a why, and we want to share that with you today. So thank you guys again. Your interviews were amazing. I can't wait for the world to see those. And I'd love to hear, what makes you tick. Speaking of TikTok, Chad, start with us, man. We would love to hear, and if you would share just why you do what you do.
Yeah, great question. Why do I do what I do? I think it starts with that little burning desire. Yeah. Honestly, as a kid, growing up, was bullied. Heavier kid, came from, a very poor family. So I always got bullied as a kid. Always got bullied, always got picked on. And as a young kid, and seeing other kids getting picked on, there's just something inside me like, buddy, you're cool. Don't worry about getting made fun of. You're just as cool as the rest of them. My whole thing is I just want people to know that they're special, who they are. Like that's the biggest thing for me is everybody is their own person. Cherish it and celebrate it. Try not to fit the mold, because when you get lost in what is it? Social.
What other people think of you. Yeah.
Is that what it's called? Yeah. What is that called?
Well, I mean, what other people think of you. Just caring how
people get stuck with
social acceptance.
Yeah, social acceptance. Thank you, baby.
That's a nice term.
That's what she's my girl. I just got to look at her and just do a squint, and then she'll start digging for me. Yeah. She's great. But social acceptance has been something that has disabilitated me my whole entire life. And so part of me doing this is it's okay. Yeah. You are special, you're unique, there's only one of you. Celebrate it and be comfortable with who you are, and find your community. That's another thing. Like, everybody thinks that their community is just given them. No, you've got to go out and get your community. Yeah. And there's action steps that you have to put in place to go find that community. A lot of trial and error, but it's the process. It is all about that process and getting there.
I tell people all the time, you're not in competition with anyone else, because only you can do what you were designed to do the way you can do it.
Yeah, amen.
So you shared a really cool story with me about how you started on TikTok.
Yeah.
And by the way, Chad is on TikTok as The Old Chado. Super cool show. You should check it out. But tell them why you started.
Yeah, so that's great, Mike. 38 years old, and I found out that I had been sexually molested as a child. So life kind of hit me all at once. I have this thing called disassociation. So everything that happened to me as a kid, I completely forgot. Then one day I was actually with the friends, a friend that was the one that had done this to me, confronted him about it. It's kind of tough to talk about, but during that time, I wanted to express to my kids what was going on with me, and I didn't know how to do that. So I went to my kids, told them what had happened, and I wanted to create an opportunity to speak with them because I was 38 years old. I had no idea this happened to me as a child, and here I am looking at 3 of my own kids. looking at 3 of my own kids and being like, I know this dialogue's open, but yet I still had the same means to talk to my parents and never took that opportunity.
And you were divorced at the time. So
and I was divorced at the time. So, you know, you don't have that dual parent, you know, that camaraderie with,
and
you know.
With them every day.
Not with them every day.
Right.
Just talk to them. Just talk to them. I wasn't able to be in their lives as much as I wanted to. So communication was key. So I could only do this over the phone.
Right.
My kids were on a social media platform, TikTok.
Yeah.
And I looked at this as an opportunity where I could be sarcastic, let them know I'm still going through a difficult time, but yet not allowing this situation to disabilitate me.
Yeah.
To allow them to see me process it, to be open about it. Because I don't think a lot of people with this sensitive material, they close in.
Sure.
You know, and being in the community that I grew up in, a very heavy religious community, if you seen someone struggling, it meant, oh, well, they're not doing something right.
Right.
God's not blessing them because they're not doing this right.
Plus, it was a taboo conversation to begin with.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely. So, so I got on TikTok, and my very first TikTok went what they call viral. And that blew up on TikTok. So it blew my platform on TikTok. Wow. As a grown man playing an 8-year-old Cub Scout and just being silly.
That's
just
so
being
awesome.
silly. But I did that for my kids. I did that for my kids, what I was going through, to basically show them that things happen. How you deal with them is important, but you don't have to be alone in this.
So what was the thing, Chad, that got you into, you know, TikTok and social media in the first place?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a story, Mike. I'm not going to lie. I originally got on TikTok just to find another avenue to spend with my kids. I didn't really have like an avenue where I was being able to have that opportunity to spend time, physical time with my kids. So communication was huge, and TikTok was huge.
Yeah,
TikTok was blowing up. I mean, everybody was downloading TikTok. I knew nothing about TikTok. I just knew that this was important to my kids and was important in their lives. So I downloaded TikTok, kind of got the feel what it was all about. And I was going through some emotional stuff in my life. So I got on TikTok, and I wanted my kids to see me dealing with what I was dealing with mentally, but allowing them to see that, you know, it doesn't have to disabilitate you. Right. And TikTok was a great avenue for me to communicate with my kids on their level. You know, allowing them to see their father, like, get interested in something they were interested in. And it was just prime. It was a prime place for me to be able to communicate with my kids on their level. And so it was kind of a perfect storm. That's awesome. Really. And what happened next, I would have never guessed, but got on TikTok and ended up becoming a phenomenon there.
Yeah, really one of the megastars, right?
Yeah, so like it was crazy. Like not only did it kind of help launch a career, but it allowed me another tool in my toolbox to help communicate and parent my kids.
That's awesome, and it's a cool little hook.
Yeah,
that really got people. You want to show?
Yeah, no, I love this. I got this little strange kind of a medical condition called globe subluxation. I was on Dr. Oz show for it. But yeah, it's one of my hooks on TikTok.
So what do you hope to do with that now? Because I know your heart, you're an awesome guy.
Yeah, well, yeah, because it came out really fast, but my purpose on TikTok is just allowing people to have a voice. Being vulnerable is really been what I've wanted to show. And it has a lot to do with how I was conditioned as a kid and the environment that I grew up in. I don't want to say it disallowed me to have a voice, but I didn't feel like I could have a voice.
Right.
So now it's all about, you know, sharing that vulnerability, and it's okay, and building a community around it. Because I think the biggest part of healing is it starts with talking about it.
Yeah.
It starts with talking about it. You can let it churn here all you want, but until you voice it and put it into action, that's when the inner workings begins.
Yeah, that's awesome. You are a difference maker, my friend. It's
Well,
pretty
it's
awesome
mine.
stuff. So your fiance, Shauna, who's also a rock star, has a program as well. And I'd love to hear about that. And by the way, not to forget, Chad has some new material, some new programs coming out by himself, but also with Shauna. And Shauna will share that with you as well. So tell us about your program.
Well, really excited, honestly, and it's so fun to see how God works things together for good.
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't understand, you know, the situations we encounter or the life that we live. And then one day you get to see it all kind of come to fruition. So several years ago, I had this vision for a program that really would help women in similar circumstances to me who had gone through divorce, who had, you know, maybe been in relationships that would be considered abusive emotionally, or, you know, I didn't have a physically abusive relationship, but I definitely had something that was emotionally abusive and trying. And, you know, I've had addiction run rampant in my family. So that's really defined the person that I am. And it's honestly created circumstances in my life that were things that I had to deal with. I adopted my sister's 2 kids because we lost her to addiction, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. So through that process was basically bestowed the vision, I believe by God, but for a program called Find Your Grit Factor. And really what that is it teaches women how to find the opportunities that lie within obstacles. Because we all have goals and dreams that we want to accomplish, but sometimes we let life get in the way. And when that happens, it detours us, and sometimes it detours us for the long haul. And so I want to encourage people, because I do believe we all have a purpose here, and I do believe that women are a huge component of what creates a successful family. And I think that they are tremendously important in children's lives. And so I really wanted to develop this program to help women be able to find the moxie to push through those difficult things and to realize they don't have to lose themselves in their circumstances. I watched my sister do that. It was the hardest thing I've ever watched in my life, and then I just vowed that I would never ever allow myself to not watch another woman do that again. Right. And then the Lord blessed me with this incredible man, and together it's so funny. When I first met him, I didn't know anything about TikTok either.
Yeah.
And then I went out and saw this guy popping his eyes out, and that was
Yeah.
But after getting to know him and just his heart, and, you know, really, I think we're going to be able to create something absolutely incredible together.
I totally
in the
agree.
future. So.
And your other sister, who has found some success in sharing her life story of overcoming addiction and, you know, coming into a place of sobriety, introduced you guys. She met Chad and said, "You've got to meet this guy," and she knew you would like him.
It's it's the craziest story. If you hear her tell it, she really was like, I felt like I needed to introduce you. That's
so
what she
cool.
tells me. But she had actually tagged me in a post on Facebook, because he's on social media and that's kind of his thing. It's what he does, and he is the most vulnerable person I've ever met in my life.
I would agree.
And something that I've struggled
online,
with,
especially.
yeah, especially. And so he actually had posted a video about wanting to get back out into the dating world after being single for a number of years. And it was so authentic and so real. I died. I literally died laughing, and I thought, I have to meet this guy. Yeah. So messaged him, and we talked for 1 hour, and then the rest is history. It was like I was reunited with my soulmate. So
that is so good. It's been a blessing. We've been praying together for Chad to come along for a long time, right? And I'm so excited for you guys. And Shauna, you're a difference maker as well. And the two of you together, oh my gosh, I can't imagine what's going to happen and the impact that you're going to make. And for myself, you know, I started something called Through Your Child's Eyes about 5 or 6 years ago, maybe longer. And we had a life interrupt, and my son was being bullied to the point where we had to take him out of school and kind of get him, you know, back into shape and rehab him. And he's done wonderful. He's a hard worker and he's worked through it. But during that time, I took a couple years off of work to be a dad. And it was one of the hardest things I've ever done. And as I was praying about what to do and how to help my son, you know, I felt impressed that the Lord asked me, was I a father or was I a businessman? And I said, well, I'm both. And he said, not what I asked. Are you a father or a businessman? I had to make a choice, and I decided to be a father, and I'm glad I did. And I spent a lot of time with him one-on-one, but during that time, God started giving me all of these ideas and all of these things, and it became my mandate in life and what I was supposed to do. And so it's been a long time coming getting this out. And, you know, this is my purpose. This is why I'm here. My job is on this earth is to help people realize God as a father, and that, you know, the fatherless generation to realize who he is, but also to help parents be parents. You know, I found myself in a divorce situation with a 5-year-old, and I fought tooth and nail for 50% custody, which wasn't even enough because I couldn't bear to be without him. Mm-hmm. And I had no idea what to do. I didn't know how to take care of a kid or take care of the house. I was the breadwinner. I went to work and I worked a lot. And so I didn't know what to do, and I had to learn all of that. And I realized during that time, other parents didn't know what to do either. Mm-hmm. And so I decided to take the lessons that I learned from friends like you, that I learned that, you know, in talking about being parents, and the things I learned the hard way, which are most of the things, because I'm kind of hard-headed, and try to share them with other parents to make an impact and to make a difference and to show them that, hey, first of all, we're all fallible and we're not perfect, but we're also not going to wing it. Mm-hmm. You know, when I go into a business meeting, I'm well prepared. I've researched the company. I know who I'm talking to. I've taken notes, and I know what I want when I walk into the meeting and what I want to accomplish. And I realized I wasn't doing that with my own son. Mm-hmm. And I was winging it, and I was just trying to get by. And I decided I didn't want to do that anymore. Yeah. And so, you know, our goal on Motivational Parents is to, you know, have the audience meet other parents, see how hard it is. We all know it's hard, and to be really open about it and transparent about it and say, look, you know, the reason it took me 5 years, by the way, to launch this, because I don't think I'm that good of a parent. And as much as parents tell me all the time, oh, you're such a great dad, the thing that really impacted me is when they say, you're so lucky that your kid is so good. Yeah. And I realize I'm not lucky, I did the work. Mm-hmm. And we actually had a major adversity where he could have taken a left at any given time. And we weren't going to allow that to happen. So my goal in life is to help other parents see that they have a father, whether they did it or not. And if their father wasn't the right role model, he is. Yeah. And the relationship between he and his son, Jesus, is the one that we can model. And that we're in this together. And I want to build a community of like-minded parents, not that are good parents, but that want to be. And that we can come together and become better as parents. We'll never be perfect, but we want to change the world, and we want to make an impact, and we want to change lives. Yeah. I think that's why we're all in this, which is really cool because, you know, a lot of people go into social media for fame or for money or for, you know, mansions and cars, and you see it all the time. Yeah. And we're not those kind of people. You know, we're in this because we want to help people, we want to impact people, and we want to make a difference. And it is an honor to walk this out with people like you. Amen. You know, in my life, and it's really cool. And I'm blessed by just being friends with you guys and knowing you as well as I do. Likewise, mate. Yeah. So thank you, guys. Listen, this is a new thing for me, guys, and I want you to know that the reason that we're all doing this is for you, and it is not easy, and it takes a lot of time to really think this through and to be a good model for what we want to teach. So we're asking for your support, not just for us, but for each other. That as we build these communities, that you all would support one another, and that you would take people for who they are and love them where they are and help them. And I hope that this impacts people on a large scale, because we are difference makers, and we've made that choice, and God has driven us into that place. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think any one of us really has a choice. We're going to do it. Yeah. Yeah, no plan B. My name is Mike Feynman, and I'm a dad.